Hi everybody, Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio. Today's topic is 4 things that you need to do today to turn I will into I did. I am probably the world's worst at this. I look at things and think, yeah, I'll get to that later, or yeah, I will get that done. And I make a list, to-do list that is much more than what it should be. In all coaching aspects, a to-do list should really be no more than 3 things, and mine typically ends up being 35 to 40, right? And there's no way that we can get all those things done in a day, so we continually put things off. And there's really nothing better than a solid deadline to kick your tail into action to make sure that you get things done. This happened to me recently as had a whole slew of things to get done, and then my help slash mom, who helps me teach my kids for homeschool, and my help slash dad, who is my office manager at the studio, decided to take a vacation. And of all things, can you imagine that they wanted to go on vacation together? And so as they take off for what's close to 2 weeks, I'm left with all of those things to do and my normal job. And then lo and behold, one of my kiddos gets a wonderful part in a play, and now we've got rehearsals till, umpteen hours a night. So just all these things happening at once. How do we get it all done? How do we make sure that we stay on track with the things that we already needed to do, add in the things that we need to do? This kind of fits into so many different places in life, but it always reminds me of treading water. Treading water is constant motion. You're either up or down, you're forward or back, you're moving in a circle. There is no sitting still. But if you stop or you start to slow down, that's when you drown, right? You start to go under, you start to pull back. And that's kind of how we are with our goals, with our to-do lists, all of those things. We start to either kind of backpedal because we're procrastinating, or we start to slow down because we've got so many other things going that our goals kind of sit on the back burner, right? So a to-do list is one thing, and maybe there's some really important things on yours that need to go up towards the top, right? And then maybe it's more your health and your fitness, your goals that we've kind of started backpedaling on. Who knows? Maybe you've kind of experienced that where you start to really have moments that you push really hard and you do everything you can, and maybe you still feel like you're treading water. And then there's other times whenever you slow down and you just feel like you are sinking and you just can't get out of it. Maybe it comes from not understanding what really your why is, or how to really reach the goals that you have set for you. And again, this can be outside the fitness world. I mean, this can be with work, this can be with family, all sorts of things, but you still have to understand why you're doing it and how you're going to get there. And so today I wanted to give you 4 quick things that you need to start doing today in order to turn that whole I will into I did, and get it turned around. So number 1 is we've got to assess what really needs to be done. On a mental state, maybe that's a brain dump where you write down everything in your brain, kind of figure out what's actually necessary and what's actually just kind of fluff or things that other people should be doing that you're kind of taking on the responsibility of. So we need to figure out what we need to do. And we also need to assess what our goals really are. So whether that is a health and fitness goal of losing weight or getting more toned, or whether that is, getting back on track with nutrition, or if it's just getting these 3 things done on my checklist every day. Whatever it is, we need to figure out what those goals are for each day so we know what we're doing, right? Otherwise, you have no game plan. So that's the second step. Set that game plan in place. Create that plan. Schedule what you need to schedule. Make arrangements where you need to make arrangements. Reach out for help where you need to reach out for help. But get that game plan in place so that you can start moving forward, right? Now, the third step is really important. It's one that a lot of people don't put in there. So they go through and they figure out, okay, I need to eat better. I need to teach my family to eat better. And I need to exercise better. I'm going to get that done. I will do it, right? It kind of goes into that famous I will. Then, they create this plan. They're like, okay, well, starting on Monday, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to join this program. I'm going to do all these things. It's going to be great. Now, whether or not that Monday actually goes or doesn't go, it's just kind of typically dependent on your situation. But we make that plan, and then we get frustrated because we don't actually reach the goals that we need to reach. And we don't do that because we end up forgetting to set a deadline for our goals. We forget to set the plan of when this goal is going to be accomplished. Now, you have to be careful because you want to make sure that you Hey everybody, Chris Stokes from Chris Fitness. We evidently lost our internet connection for just a minute, so I'm not real sure what recorded before and what we've got now, so I'm just going to kind of start back over real quick in case this is just getting back to you and it didn't show you what we had first off. So today we're talking about turning I will into I did. Recently kind of went through transition for me where I'm really the world's worst at this. I have a to-do list that's 30 to 40 things long every day. I know better. I know that you're only going to get about 3 of those done, and that we really shouldn't aim that high because that creates more failure in our minds. So, but the problem is we still have those things to get done, right? And all of them seem really important at the time. Not too long ago, my help/mom and help/dad that help out with my kids on school and help us out at the studio as office manager and those things decided to take a vacation together, and that left me with about 2 weeks on my own of not only doing my huge to-do list that I give myself all the time, but also taking care of their positions, taking care of the schooling for my kids, taking care of all the office manager duties and getting all of that done together. And no, I'm not afraid to tell you that I have help for my kiddos. We homeschool. It's a crazy time. There's a lot going on all the time. So having help is absolutely essential for me to be able to keep running a business the way that we do. So, whenever I think about this whole I will idea, it seems like every day you say that to somebody, I'm going to get this done, or I will do that, or, it's coming. It's kind of like having kids, right? And they come up and they say, can we do this? And you say, maybe. And they're like, Mom probably meant no, right? And we tell that to them. We kind of, it's just normal. But with ourselves, we say, I will get that done. And sometimes we mean it and sometimes we really don't. And that means that sometimes that I will but just kind of becomes words in the air instead of actual help to you. And it also means that you're not progressing forward. So whenever I think about progress, it always makes me think of treading water. And water, it's constant motion. So with constant motion, you're either going up and down, forward or back. If you stop or slow down, you start to sink, you start to go under. And so that's really how we work as well. If we're not constantly moving forward and progressing towards our goals, then we start to regress. And people don't understand that a lot of times. They'll go through, say, a 6-week challenge of nutrition and exercise. They'll lose all this weight and they'll be like, great, I'm done. And the problem is that if you stop, you move backwards. You end up back where you were before, or even worse off. So instead of thinking that short-term way, we've got to start to move forward with it. We've got to remember that we are constantly in motion and that we've got to continue to push forward. It doesn't mean that you have to push as hard as you did during that 6 weeks. Let's say that you did a challenge and you lost all the weight that you wanted to lose, you built all the muscle that you wanted to build. Awesome challenge, right? And then you get to the end of it and you stop, you go back to where you were. But if you get to the end of it and you keep going, you don't have to push as hard as you did in those 6 weeks to get there. You just have to keep moving forward. You have to keep that maintenance mode. And maybe later you come up with a new goal, you want to reach towards it, got to push a little harder. So we kind of go through these sprint rest periods where you sprint for a little bit and then you rest for a little bit. And that works with everything in life, from business to health to nutrition to just about everything. We've got to really focus hard for a little while, a break, so that your brain can rest, your body can rest, and kind of get through everything. All right, so today we're talking about 4 things that you need to start doing today to turn I will into I did. So I caught myself doing this through that transition time where I had those 2 weeks of just me and working through everything. I was already having a lot of stress and working through the fact that I'm doing 3 different people's jobs and taking care of everybody at the same time. And that stress just compounded whenever one of my kiddos got this amazing part in a play. And now we have rehearsals, that are a couple hours each night for the next eternity, it feels like. So we've got to fit all this in. We've got to make it all work, because otherwise I'm going to have these to-do lists that are 30 to 40 items long, and I'm going to keep saying I will, and each day I'm going to move 25 of them over, right? And then I'm going to end up with failure because I won't end up getting it done. So 4 things today to do. Number 1, assess what really needs to be done. A lot of times in our heads we make these lists huge. I had a client one time who came in just completely depressed, had so many things to get done, couldn't figure out how to get it all done, had to write it down. It was literally 7 things. That was it. But she had built up in her mind how hard these things were going to be and what all it entailed and how complicated they were going to be. We simplified it. She had it done in 14 days. It wasn't a big deal. But the problem was that mentally she was suffering from failure before she even started, because she had so blown this situation up in her mind to where it felt like she had 45 things to do. And she only had minimal time to do it before these people came in, and it just turned it bad. So assess what you actually need to do. What's in your head? versus what really needs to be done can be two completely different things. Now, again, that can go for work, it can go for family, it can go for activities, it can go for health and fitness, just about everything. You want to look at all that. So then if you're talking about goal set, we've got to figure out what our goals really are, right? Why do we have these goals? What's the point in it? And what are we actually trying to do? We want to simplify our goals, but the problem is that if your goal is weight loss, that's not a great goal. Because while weight loss is something that will happen, that is not something that's going to take you through a lifetime of change. It's not going to be a long-term goal. Once you hit that weight loss, typically your brain kind of throws a party and it turn back around and go back to the other direction. So we want to really detail out those goals. Figure out why you want to lose weight. Is it because you want to have energy to play with your kids? Is it because you want somebody to look at you differently? Is it because you just want to fit in those pants that you used to fit in? What is the actual reason? Figure out that why. You'll have more motivation to get that goal done than you've ever seen before. All right, step 2 is to set a plan in place. Schedule what you need to schedule. Make arrangements where you need to make arrangements. Find help where you need to find help. Make sure that you have all things in place for this plan before you begin, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure instead of setting up for success. So to set up for success, schedule yourself into your calendar for whatever it is that you're trying to get done. If you're trying to clean out a closet, schedule it on your calendar. If you're trying to get a workout in, schedule it on your calendar. If you've got to have a meal planning day, schedule it on your calendar. If it's on there, you're less likely to forget about it. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't possibly bump it off for something else, only speaking from personal experience with that. But it does mean that you'll take it a little more seriously because it's on there. Making arrangements, finding help. If you need someone to guide you through the process, maybe you don't know how to organize your closet, call in an organizer. Maybe you don't know how to reach your health and fitness goals, call in a personal training team. Make sure that you've got what you need to set yourself up for success. So number 3 is the big one that a lot of people forget. They create all these plans. They say, okay, on Monday, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to join this program. On Saturday, I'm going to meal plan. It's all going to be great. Going to have all this done. My goals are these. The problem is they forget or fail to set a deadline. Now, I'm not saying a hard set deadline that you say I'm going to lose 50 pounds by the end of this month, and if you don't reach that, then you've failed. That's not what I want. I want you to set a deadline of behavioral goals and setting those behaviors in place. So for me, one of those behavior goals is not putting more than 10 things on my to-do list, unless I'm in a panic mode, right? So if we put less than 10 things on our to-do list, then we're more likely to succeed. But that's a behavior that I have to build. It's not setting up, every day that nothing else is going to happen, right? Building behaviors in exercise are, I'm going to go and exercise 3 times a week for the next month. Great goal. You can totally achieve that goal. Health-wise with nutrition, this week I'm going to do meal planning every Saturday, and I'm going to make sure that my lunches are prepped. Great goal. So set goals, set a deadline for those goals so that you know that you're working towards the 1 week mark, 2 week mark, 1 month, 30 days, 60 days, whatever it may be. You're working towards those goals, making sure that you have exactly what you need in a timely manner and that you are progressing consistently. So with our training clients, what we do is every 4 weeks, we go in and we reassess them physically, and we do a metric reassessment to where we're checking measurements, body fat percentage, weight, all those kinds of things. But we're also seeing their strength difference, their endurance difference, balance, flexibility. We're testing all of that every 4 weeks because we want them to see their progress throughout. If we did that only once every 4 months, as I mistakenly said earlier, or once a year, you're not going to see those goals being reached the same way. You're going to lose momentum and you're not going to find the same level of success. But whenever we're able to continually adjust and tweak to that program as you go through it, then it starts to bring the brain into this level of understanding about I'm reaching success every day because I'm doing this. I'm being consistent. I'm eating well. I'm exercising well. Maybe it's not every single day that you're eating well. Maybe you get off track for a week. Big deal. If you've been staying on track the rest of the time, you're good. So there's a lot of leeway there, but we want to make sure that whatever we plan, whatever we create a plan for, that we set a deadline for so that we start to understand that each of these has their own deadline, and we have to make sure that we're working towards that deadline to create progress. Otherwise, we start to, again, in that treading water scenario, start to slip under the water. So number 4 is a huge one. Biggest thing of all, you have to start. You have to actually get started on these things. So once you make the plan, once you set the deadlines, once you've assessed everything, you have to actually start this plan, right? And if you wait until Monday, I don't care what day of the week it is, if you're waiting for Monday so you can start on a brand new day, tomorrow is just as much of a brand new day as Monday is. And you're more likely to do it when you're excited about it, putting the thought into it, really focused on it. If you wait even one day, but especially, if you're waiting like Friday till Monday or anything like that so you can get in your last hurrahs, what's the point, right? Go back and look at your why again. Is it really so important to you that you should start now? Or is it not as important to you to where you should put it off again? Because putting it off will always lead to more procrastination. So I hope that gives you a little bit of help today. I hope this video turned out okay with all the internet issues that we seem to be having. But start on those 4 things today. Go through and assess, set your plan, set your deadline, and get started. And I would love to hear more about how you turned your I will into your I did. What you did or what your goal is, so that can help support you and push you along that road gently, obviously, but to help you reach your goals. So if you would like to know more about how we can help you as an entire team to support your health and fitness goals, feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188. We not only offer free consultations, but we also messed up last week, and our Facebook ads did not run correctly for our Lean and Clean Challenge that technically kicked off Monday, which was yesterday. Here's the deal. We messed up, so you get the opportunity to sign up. So if you missed out on Lean and Clean and you want to get in on that program, it's a 6-week program. Give us a call. Let us know. We're going to start anybody who signs up this week due to that mess up. We'll start them next Monday on the 17th. So we'd love to hear more from you if that's something that you're interested in. It's about eating real foods, exercising consistently, and if you're being consistent with the program, you're in the grand prize drawing for 2 nights in Vegas. So pretty sweet. Hope you have a great day. If there's something that you want to hear about on Facebook Live, feel free to leave a comment below, and we'll hit that topic as soon as we can.